Many brokers and/or traders also provide online platforms for you to trade from your computers, mobile phones, and other digital devices. Today, you can invest at your convenience from anywhere in the world. Technical analysis for Islamic equity. While a fundamental analysis is comprehensive, it is equally important to assess your investment decision through technical analysis as well. Technical analysis evaluates the assets using the statistical method to find patterns and predict future movements based on past market activities. Inspect the chart using the EIC framework too, starting with the economy and moving on through the industry to the company. The charts provide trend directions and show the momentum in pricing and volumes. Normally, technical analysis is for short and medium-term trading. Sharia-compliant stocks. The Islamic capital market constitutes an integral part of the Islamic financial system. It is indispensable for the efficient use of financial resources and their optimal allocation in an economy. How do you pick a Sharia-compliant stock? When deciding which stock to invest in, there are many questions to consider. For example, what is your investment objective? What investment duration do you prefer? Long or short? If a Sharia-compliant stock is your preference for investment, which stock should you pick? As the screen below shows, Bursa Malaysia's main board has many iStocks to choose from. Look for those with Sharia-compliant symbols. Note that different stockbrokers use different symbols. Ensure that your choice of stock is in line with your investment objective, the returns you expect, and the risks that you are aware of. Most importantly, do your homework on the chosen stock using fundamental and technical analysis before you make a final decision. Process for picking a halal stock. 1. Log into your platform. You can choose to see the top 30 volumes traded on that particular day. The iStock for this Islamic broker has a small circle symbol beside the company name to indicate that the company is Sharia compliant. 2. Example, buying Hibiscus Petroleum stock. Type out the company name, Hibiscus. Click on the suggested name, code 5199, name HIBISCS. 3. Key in your iStock purchase. Choose BUI, key in your trading pin, the number of shares in units, and the price. Click Buy and a confirmation box will pop out to let you confirm your purchase. Check the quantity and price, and then click Confirm. How do you pick IREITs? Sharia-compliant real estate investment trusts. An IREIT is a form of collective investment in the real estate sector that complies with Islamic law. It generates income from rental and also gains income from the sale of real estate and investment in real estate. For investors, the returns take the form of dividends and capital gains, which is the appreciation in the value of the real estate. Here are a few examples of IREITs available at Bursa Malaysia. Alicar Healthcare REIT, Al Salam REIT, Axis REIT, KLCC REIT. If you compare the property sector and IREIT performance, you can see that the movement is quite identical and correlated. Instead of investing in all the property companies, you can invest in IREITs that represent investments in the property industry. IREITs 20% threshold. An IREIT may invest in real estate where all its tenants carry out fully Sharia-compliant activities, or some of the tenants carry out Sharia non-compliant activities, provided the percentage of rental received from all Sharia non-compliant activities is less than 20% of the total turnover of the IREIT. Investment in real estate where all tenants carry out fully Sharia non-compliant activities. An IREIT must not invest in real estate where all tenants carry out fully Sharia non-compliant activities, even if the percentage of the Sharia non-compliant rental is less than the 20% threshold. IREITs 5% threshold. An IREIT must reduce the percentage of the Sharia non-compliant rental from less than the 20% of the total turnover to less than 5% of the total turnover by the end of the 10th financial year post-listing. Takaful. All real estate in an IREIT must be covered by the Takaful scheme. If the Takaful scheme is not available to cover the real estate or is not commercially viable, such real estate may be covered by conventional insurance. Benefits of IREITS. 1. Competitive long-term performance. Investments in the real estate industry have provided long-term total returns similar to those of other stocks. 2. Dividend yields. Investments in IREITS provide cash income from dividends. 3. Liquidity. Shares of publicly listed IREITS are readily traded on the Bursa Malaysia exchange. 4. Transparency. Sharia advisory boards, independent directors, analysts, and auditors monitor the performance and Sharia compliance of listed IREITS. 5. Portfolio diversification. IREITS offer access to the real estate market typically with low correlation to other stocks and bonds. How do you pick IREITS? 1. Firstly, use the EIC framework to assess the three components of EIC. 2. Secondly, get an overview of the property industry. View the information on the property sector or market as a whole. The numbers of sold and unsold properties are useful indicators. Evaluate the IREIT's historical performance year on year. 3. Look for available counters for IREITS investment that is Bursa Malaysia. Here's an example of IREIT performance from the Malaysia StockBiz website. How do you pick IETFs? Sharia-compliant exchange-traded funds. An exchange-traded fund is an innovative financial product that exhibits the best of open-ended fund and listed stock features. An IETF is defined as a listed index tracking fund structured similar to a unit trust scheme or any other approved structures whose primary objective is to achieve the returns that correspond to the performance of a particular index. Here are the IETFs available in Bursa Malaysia. My ETF Dow Jones Islamic Market Malaysia Titans 25. My ETF Dow Jones US Titans 50. My ETF MSCI Malaysia Islamic Dividend. My ETF MSCI SEA Islamic Dividend. My ETF Thomson Reuters Asia Pacific ex-Japan Islamic Agribusiness. Trade Plus Sharia Gold Tracker. These charts compare the IETF MYETF DJ with the Dow Jones Industrial Index chart. You can see that the movement of the ETF is similar to the actual index. Therefore, if you want to invest in Dow Jones Index companies, you could consider investing in MYETF DJ, which is an IETF. How do you pick IETFs? Step 1. Firstly, use the EIC framework to assess the three components of EIC. Step 2. Secondly, examine the overall index of IETFs. 6 IETFs are being traded on Bursa Malaysia. View the information on the ETF's market as a whole. Evaluate the IETF's historical performance year on year. IETFs are available at Bursa Malaysia. Here are examples of available ETFs and a chart tracking the performance of Gold ETF. Sharia-compliant indices. Sharia-compliant indices are designed for the creation of structured products and are referred to by index tracking funds that track the performance of Sharia-compliant securities. Indices structure. I indices for investors. 1. FTSE Bursa Malaysia EMAS Sharia Index. Comprises constituents of the FTSE Bursa Malaysia EMAS Index that are Sharia compliant, have been triple screened, and meet the FTSE's global standards of free float, liquidity, and investability. 2. FTSE Bursa Malaysia Hijrah Sharia Index. A tradable index that comprises the 30 largest companies in the FBM Hijara Sharia Index that have been through the triple screening process and meet the FTSE's global standards of free float, liquidity, and investability. 3. FTSE Bursa Malaysia Small Cap Sharia Index. Shares of publicly listed IREITs are readily traded on the Bursa Malaysia exchange. 4. FTSE Bursa Malaysia Mids Cap Sharia Index. Consists of all the constituents of the FTSE Bursa Malaysia Mids Cap Index approved as Sharia compliant. I indices for investors.